Om Sapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Sapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara varishtaya Ramakrishna Yate Namaha Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Pratyo ma amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who came to establish religion universal. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Today's topic, meditation and its use. It's a very profound subject. But in order to follow meditation, it needs lot of discipline. You must gear up the whole system towards this practice of meditation. All our senses, Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, must be properly monitored so that we can concentrate properly on the divine. In order to realize one's own true self, meditation is most significant method. But the most important of all the organs in our system, mind is extremely important. One has to purify the mind properly so that he can concentrate and meditate on the divine. That means mental austerity is most essential. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manaprasada saumyatvam Mauramatma vinigraha Bhava samshuddhihi ityetat tapo manasa uchyate. How nicely Lord Krishna has pointed out to keep the mind in proper position. Serenity of mind. If the mind is in constant stress and strain, if it is continuously fluctuating and running after things, one cannot dwell upon the divine idea. So one has to find out ways and means of maintaining serenity. That is one of the factors of prosperity with regards to mind. Then kindliness. One has to have a pure, compassionate heart. And silence, which is most important discipline for keeping the mind in a proper position. Silence. It is too much of chatting, talking, all sorts of things. They disturb the tranquility of the mind. So the divine has to be discovered only through silence, profound silence. Then Atma Vinigraha, self-control. Then comes Bhava Samshuddhi, honesty of motivation. So that means how much preparations we will have to do in order to step into practice of meditation. We have to do it. If our aspiration to realize the truth is very important, we must take all steps to discipline our mind. Patanjali Maharshi has very clearly indicated in his aphorisms that how one could reach the highest state of meditation. The culmination of the meditation is samadhi. And he points out there are 8 steps. So meditation comes the 7th one. That means 6 steps ought to be properly followed in order to enter into the 7th step, that is called dhyana or meditation. All these ideas are very, very important. Every stage is important. Every stage you must perfect yourself to step up to the next stage. So, first he says, yama, that is observances, what we should observe. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. These are the 5 things we should observe very meticulously. If you want to achieve the result of realization of the truth, the first step should be perfected properly so that you become qualified to enter into the second step. Not jumping over. No. If you practice and perfect every step, you become well established. None can shake your ideas, determination and faith when you are well established in all these steps. Ahimsa means non-injury. One should be free from the negative effect of causing injury in any manner. Even in mind also, we should not injure or insult or hurt anyone. Because mind gets tainted if the mind is directed in that way. So non-injury is most important. it follows that one should have tremendous reverence towards everyone, because God dwells in every being. So the whole universe is to be revered. And you must feel privileged and obliged. God has given this opportunity to live in this most beautiful, fantastic, sacred creation of the Lord, universe. So, I am the part and parcel of this universe. So you must build up that moral stamina in order to practice non-injury. And second one is truthfulness. Most of us neglect this practice. People say it's very difficult to hold on to truth. But when you come to spiritual practice, it has to be followed. That is keeping up what you have thought of, what you have told, what you have uttered. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. In all these aspects, one should be truthful. That is Satya. One is Ahimsa, not hurting any being, and Satya, following truthfulness. Third is non-stealing. Stealing habit. The worst type of disease it is. It destroys the character of man. Stealing. And then aparigraha. Then brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means continence. Because you must preserve your vital energy, which is very useful in deep thinking, and it takes you onward in your spiritual journey. It leads you towards the blissful experience. So though it seems to be difficult, it has to be practiced, and so one has to understand, accept it and follow it. Brahmacharya means really keeping the mind on the divine, not drifting the mind towards any other object. Then comes aparigraha, non-greed. So these are the 5 observances: Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. Then comes the second step. When you perfect these, all these steps are to be practiced every time, every moment of our life. So that keeps you always in the high altitude. The second set comes niyamas, that is abstentions. These also 5: Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. Shaucha means purity. Whatever that disturbs your mind, you must immediately take steps to remove that disturbance. If you maintain the purity level, you will be able to have the glimpse of the divine, the personification of purity. That means all the impurities of the mind are to be removed. As so many impurities are locked up in the mind. Kamaha, Krodhaha, Lobhaha, Mada, Matsarya. All these are very dreadful. Sri Ramakrishna compares them to alligators. 6 alligators are there. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So these are the impurities of the mind. These impurities will not allow you go forward in your spiritual path. So you must try to practice purity and maintain your purity level. That is Shaucha. Then comes Santosha. Santosha means contentment. Whatever you have, be contented with that. Don't aspire more and more and get into trouble. Not grumbling, and not at the same time not to be overjoyed by things of the world. So, tapaha, accepting pain and not causing pain. And then swadhyaya, study of the spiritual texts. That's very important. That gives the nourishment to your spiritual body. It has to be nourished. Every day, time should be spared for reading and understanding and practicing the spiritual texts. Then comes Ishvara Pranidhana, worship of the Divine Being, or it's also called as surrender, self-surrender. So these are the 5 abstentions. One is yama, that is the first discipline, first step. The second step is niyama, abstentions. Then comes the third step, that is asana. All these steps are to be practiced consciously with full awareness. There should not be any kind of tamas. There should not be any inertia in the mind. So the third step is asana, that is posture. In what posture you are sitting to practice meditation. So there are so many postures are there. Whatever that is comfortable to a person, he should select that posture and he should stabilize sitting in that posture for a long time, then become perfect in that posture. That is the third step. The fourth step is pranayama. Pranayama itself is a very big discipline, and just by practicing pranayama one can reach the zenith of spiritual experience. But pranayama has got great dangers on the way. One has to be very strict in practicing pranayama. So what we suggest is that rhythmic breathing, that's enough for us to practice spirituality. Not taking pranayama as the main spiritual path, because it requires constant attendance of the teacher. So, but rhythmic breathing or simple pranayama is always advisable. Then the fifth step is pratyahara. That is, mind always runs after things. It's the nature of the mind. You don't have to worry about it. It only proves your mind is active. It is not dull. It is restive horse. So, whenever the mind running here and there, as a master of the mind, we should control, we should watch over the thoughts for some time. Then it stops wandering. When you are watching, let me see how my mind wanders. After a while it stops wandering. So, whenever the mind goes out, bring it back and fix it on the position. That itself takes sufficient amount of practice. That's called struggle. That's called struggle. But one has to do struggle. So, pratyahara means like that. Whenever the mind goes out, bring it back and fix it on the divine. Suppose you are worshipping the divine form of Sri Ramchandra. Suddenly mind goes away somewhere. Bring it back. Fix it on the lotus feet of Sri Ramchandra again. This has to be repeated. And if you do it consciously, with sincerity, it becomes all right in course of time. Then the sixth step is dharana. Means concentrating the mind within the heart. Concentration. Meditation comes next. First you must know how to concentrate upon what we are thinking. Even to read our textbooks, how much we should concentrate in order to understand the contents of the text. So much more it is when it comes to spiritual life. Then comes dhyana, meditation. When the concentration is deepened, it becomes meditation. When the meditation becomes deepened, it becomes samadhi. Samadhi is absorption. It is a union, divine union. You arrive at the truth and you feel ecstatic. You don't have any more questions to ask. You don't have any more doubts. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. A person came to visit the king of the place. There are 7 gates. In every gate there is a security guard, fully dressed. And security guard himself is all great, attracting dress, etc. And the man enters the gate, and is this the king's place? Is it the king's place? Like that? No, this is not the king's place. He goes on. When he reaches his 7th gate, he doesn't have to ask any question. He becomes overjoyed to see the king. Same way is dhyana. This samadhi. Samadhi comes the last stage. Sri Ramakrishna experienced samadhi. All the Mahatmas, holy saints and sages experience samadhi. Once that is done, the goal is achieved. There is nothing to be achieved anymore. And he becomes available to everyone to share that divine experience. The inner self of a person touches the higher self, Param Tattva, during deep sleep daily. This unknown touch recharges the battery of man. So when he gets up from his sleep, he feels that he is refreshed, full of strength and relaxed. This is a natural process for all persons alike. And people say, oh, yesterday I had very good sleep, undisturbed sleep, without dream anything. The whole night went off like 1 minute. Night is gone so quickly. If one could not sleep properly, he feels disturbed and is in a sort of weariness. That is the experience of every one of us. So everyone needs peace, strength and ability to discharge one's duties and wants tranquility of mind. Everyone wants it. Everyone wants peace. So, a wonderful discovery of man is to keep his inner self in touch with the source in a wakeful state for longer periods continuously through specific type of systematic practices. This is called the art of meditation. And such a person is said to be a yogi. So, Dhyanam is defined as Dhyanam Nirvishayam Manaha. That state of the mind wherein there are no vishayas or sensory thoughts is meditation. The spiritual purpose and meaning is to lead the individual soul to the ecstatic communion with the universal divinity or one truth, the source. A continuous flow of perception of thought is dhyana. Tat pratyekatanata dhyanam. It is a flow of continuous thought of one object or a God or Atman or Supreme Source. Taila dharavat, as the flow of the oil, unbroken flow. Like that, the mind should proceed on a single thought. Then it's called dhyana. According to Raj Yoga, meditation is the seventh step in the ladder of yoga. One cannot attain this state unless he knows the art of concentration. Concentration precedes meditation. Concentration is fixing the mind on an external object or an internal point continuously without interruption or break for 12 seconds. If you can do that, it is called concentration. So an aspirant has to develop himself in concentration, which itself is changed into meditation. If his state of keeping the mind focused at one object or point or subject continuously and spontaneously for 12 into 12, that is 144 seconds, it is termed as dhyana in Sanskrit scriptures, which comes from the root dhi. We generally call it in English intellect, which is the basic root with different derivations in different practices. However, buddhi, that is a Sanskrit word, reasoning faculty, is said to be directly based on this root term. Yet this term is used liberally by all systems of yoga, which is central theme of all mystic techniques leading one to higher levels of spiritual consciousness, with profound depths of spiritual expansion, and takes one to God realization or self-realization. Meditation may be objective or on qualities or purely subjective or one's own breath. In objective meditation, the aspirant meditates upon an idol or picture of his chosen deity. For him, the idol is something alive, vibrating with supreme reality, omnipresent, omniscient and omnipotent. He may meditate upon the beatitude, the qualities and the activities of his chosen deity. Or he may meditate upon the all-pervading, pulsating supreme energy which is within him and without, permeating everywhere. This is subjective meditation. All meditations are good. What counts is the intensity and unbroken continuity of meditation. That's important. An aspirant has to rest his soul on the bosom of the Lord, to bathe in the bliss of the divine ecstasy, to drown his ego in the ocean of eternity, to draw sustenance and strength from the source, to attain whatever he is capable of achieving. A sadhaka, that is the aspirant, should meditate regularly, chew and digest what he has learnt, to transform what he has learnt into wisdom, to apply that wisdom to solve the problems that cross his path daily. It is not the number of books you read, nor the variety of sermons you hear, nor the amount of religious conversation in which you mix, but it is the frequency and earnestness with which you meditate on these things till the truth in them becomes your own and part of your being. That ensures your growth. A sincere spiritual seeker meditates to realize the ultimate reality, to unravel the mystery of life and death, to understand the bottom of his heart. What is truth? Once he knows truth, he knows the ultimate reality. He becomes that, and there is nothing more to know. A person who has realized Brahman becomes Brahman and lives in Brahman. Knowing is being. That is the highest state. The world has produced many saints and seers who had realized the truth and for more or less time lived in a state of divine ecstasy, like Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramatirtha, Ramana Maharshi, Aurobindo, etc. And so many several others of world fame. Sri Ramakrishna would, while talking, relapse into samadhi and often prayed to his Divine Mother not to draw him frequently into her bosom so that he can converse with his disciple, particularly his darling Narain, later known to the world as Swami Vivekananda, so that he could prepare a band of workers to spread this message, the divine message of the Upanishads, Vedanta. Meditation and concentration are often treated as synonymous. However, there is a distinct line between concentration and meditation. When one brings to bear all his thought waves on a single point or spot like a laser beam where the scattered rays of light are concentrated, it is concentration. Everybody needs concentration to understand, assimilate and apply any information, any knowledge. When the concentration is prolonged for 144 seconds, it is called meditation. And when extended to 144 multiplied by 144, that is 20,736 seconds, that is 345.6 minutes, it is said to reach the state of samadhi. According to Ashtanga Yoga, comprising two main parts of Hatha Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama covers the first one, whereas Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi is the second part. Concentration is the sixth, meditation the seventh, and Samadhi the eighth, and last stage of yoga when the sadhaka is united with the Supreme Being. It shows that concentration leads to meditation. Similarly, prolonged constant meditation leads to samadhi. In other yogas, manana, nididhyasana, upasana, Chintana, Dhyana. These terms are used in different yogas with subtle differences in their techniques. Manana is a sort of reflection. It is just to chew the cud slowly and nicely. It is done through intense practice of manana, that is Chintana. Chintana is also a sort of reflection and meditation to assimilate the thoughts in consciousness for proper and significant impression with profound understanding. Intense meditation on the self or Brahman or any spiritual element personality is termed as Nididhyasana. Upasana stands for devout meditation, which is being used in both Jnana Yoga sadhana and Bhakti Yoga sadhana. Upasana means sitting nearby. In Jnana Yoga sadhana, the seeker has to sit near the self or Brahman, whereas in Bhakti Yoga, devotee has to sit by the side of God. A keen and true regular sadhaka will attain quick and sure results when he proceeds properly stage by stage under the guidance of his guru or master. The first 4 parts are meant to purify the mind and keep the body strong and fit to receive and retain the power of the divine. So meditation can be practiced by anyone. By doing meditation in the proper way, one would be able to conduct one's life very peacefully and properly. So generally the timings are fixed for meditation. Every morning and evening, preferably at dawn and dusk, one has to sit in a comfortable posture with one's backbone straight, relax each and every limb of the body, and then the mind, and then try to sit unmoved in the same posture as long as you can sit. So first, before starting meditation, one has to invoke one's guru, the master who has guided the aspirant in the spiritual path. And he must offer his worship to the guru, thinking of his chosen deity in the heart of the guru. Then you seek their blessings and guidance, and then follow next step. That is, afterwards you think of the chosen deity and merge your guru in your deity. So one has to be fully conscious when he is doing meditation, not slipping into sleep. Then to begin with, one has to sit for about 10 or 15 minutes so that the quality of meditation is maintained. Then slowly, when you become established in that, you increase the time of your meditation from 15 to half an hour, then again from half an hour to 1 hour, then 1 hour to 1.5 hours, like that. Slowly you have to intensify. It is easier to relax your limbs of the body, but not so easy to relax your mind. This process of relaxation, stillness and body awareness will automatically reduce the speed of your breathing, which in turn will help in meditation. So many thoughts will cross your mind now and then. They may even disturb you, but one should not be afraid. One should try to remain calm and watch them with equanimity. Let them go. Let them come. They come to go. Let them go. Do not fight to free your mind from thought waves. Try to be indifferent to them. Gradually, automatically, the flitting of thoughts across the canvas of your mind will diminish. After some time, sooner than later, you will be absorbed in your chosen deity if your meditation is objective. So once you have it, once you taste this, you would like to taste it more and more and more. So everything depends upon how we practice all the disciplines with utmost sincerity. Swami Vivekananda has very nicely described in his lectures on Raj Yoga. He describes 7 spiritual energy centers. They are called as chakras or lotuses, located at various points at the back of the body cavity, and they are arranged along the spinal column. That's why the spiritual masters always tell to keep the backbone straight, because the spiritual energy travels through the channel, the backbone, spinal column. All the chakras are located in the spinal column. The first one is Muladhara Chakra. It is located at the base of the spinal cord, visualized as a lotus flower with 4 petals. Then comes the second center, Swadhisthana. They are all situated on the backbone, spinal column, Sushumna Nadi, Sushumna channel. Swadhisthana, usually visualized as just above the genitals with 6 petals. Then the third one, Manipura, near the solar plexus with 10 petals. Then comes the Anahata, near the heart, with 12 petals. Then Vishuddha Chakra, in the region of the throat, with 16 petals. And then Ajna Chakra, between or just above the eyebrows, with 2 petals. Then comes the 7th one, Sahasrara Chakra, at the crown of the head, with 1,000 petals. The 2 most important chakras for meditation purposes are the starting and ending points, that is the Muladhara Chakra and Sahasrara. In the Muladhara, coiled up in a triangle area, is a serpent-like Kundalini which contains the individual's reservoir of psychic energy. So the goal is to awaken the Kundalini power and send it upward along the chakras until it reaches the Sahasrara and opens the 1,000-petaled lotus blossom there. One obtains psychic powers resulting from mastery of this Raja Yoga. Swami Vivekananda indicates that the mastery of yoga confers truly amazing psychic powers. Of course, a person who wants to realize the highest truth, these powers are also obstructions. One has to discard them, because they drag the aspirant from reaching the goal. So if you have to have the realization of the Divine Supreme, you should not pay any attention to all these psychic powers. They come by the by, but that only shows you are on the right track. That's all. There it ends. Don't give any thoughts towards using those powers and thereby losing your spiritual power thereby. According to the teachings of Raj Yoga, There are three major pathways of physical and mental energy that travel along the spinal cord. The first two, called the Ida on the body's left side and the Pingala right side, they direct the physical sensations from all parts of the body to the brain and carry back commands from the brain to the various muscles and organs of the body. The most important channel, however, is not a nerve bundle at all, but a hollow channel within the very center of the spinal cord. It is called the Sushumna, or in modern Western terminology, it's called a central canal, through which the cerebrospinal fluid flows. Raja Yoga teaches that the spiritual energy of the prana travels along the Sushumna and is able to achieve greater purity and subtlety of perception precisely because this channel is free of nervous tissues. Vivekananda suggests that if the nerves are the body's electrical wires, so to speak, the Sushumna is like the channel through the various chakras until it reaches the Sahasrara Chakra. Once you reach the 1000-petal lotus at the brain center, your goal is reached. Swami Vivekananda says that it is impossible to find God outside of ourselves. Our own souls contribute all the divinity that is outside of us. We are the greatest temple. The objectification is only a faint imitation of what we see within ourselves. Concentration of the powers of the mind is our only instrument to help us see God. If you know one soul, your own, you know all souls past, present and to come. A concentrated mind is a lamp that shows us every corner of the soul. Swami Vivekananda compares the mind to a lake. The bottom of a lake we cannot see because its surface is covered with ripples. It is only possible for us to catch a glimpse of the bottom when the ripples have subsided and the water is calm. If the water is muddy or is agitated all the time, the bottom will not be seen. If it is clear and there are no waves, we shall see the bottom. The bottom of the lake is our own true self. The lake is the chitta, mind stuff, and the waves, the vrittis, thought waves. Again, the mind is in three states, one of which is darkness called tamas, found in brutes and idiots. It only acts to injure. No other idea comes into that state of mind. Then there is the active state of mind, rajas, whose chief motives are power and enjoyment. I will be powerful and rule others. Like that the Rajasic person always thinks. Then there is the state called sattva, serenity, calmness, in which the waves cease and the water of the mind lake becomes clear. So, all of us have got these three gunas in our mind, sattva, rajas and tamas. So we must increase the sattvic tendency in our mind. That will help us to meditate properly on the divine. Sattvic mind. How to develop sattvic mind? To come in contact with holy people, to engage in selfless service, and in trying to help as much as one can do. These are the ways and means to develop sattvic nature in the mind. So that is very important in order to meditate properly on the divine. All the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna had specific training of meditation by the master. And once Swami Brahmanandaji was sitting in meditation in the chapel at Dakshineshwar temple, it so happened Sri Ramakrishna came to watch his disciple, how he was struggling to meditate. After some time, Brahmanandaji said to the master, "Master, I can't meditate anymore because mind is in total distress and total restless. I am not able to concentrate properly." And Sri Ramakrishna said, "Don't worry, still you continue. It will be all right in course of time." Then Sri Ramakrishna came and touched his head. All the restlessness vanished. Mind became serene and one-pointed, and Brahmanji could continue meditation for long hours, and he was so ecstatic and blissful. Once there was a lot of disharmony among the monastic members in Varanasi, in Benares, our center. So the matter was reported to Swami Brahmanandaji. Swami Brahmanandaji visited the place, and all the monastic members were thinking how the master would solve this problem of disharmony among the members. Swami Brahmanandaji did not give any sermon. He did not speak at all. He simply said all the members to come and gather in a place. They all came, all the members came, and Swami Brahmanandaji sat there. What did he do? He did not give any sermon. He did meditate. The effect of that meditation was all the disharmony is gone among the members of the ashram. They were all peaceful and contented and felt ashamed for their behavior. That's the power of meditation. It has got tremendous power. One can transmit good waves to others. Sri Ramakrishna would invoke others' minds by just touch, by just look. That is the power of meditation. So everyone has that power, only one has to constantly practice it. We should not say we don't have time, we are busy people, we have to run to the jobs, after coming from job we feel totally exhausted, we can't do any meditation. This complaint is general. All people have this complaint. So what? That means you don't do meditation and so you won't get any benefit. That's all the result. So in spite of all these external disturbances, one should definitely spare some time for practicing meditation. Where there is a will, there is a way. If you sincerely desire it, you will have it. So meditation is a very profound topic, and that is why often it is very useful to attend the spiritual retreats where you gather and understand spiritual topics by discussion, and that is the way how one should keep one's mind in a balanced way. So mind should not be disturbed. That's a very important point. But generally, when you are coming in contact with worldly affairs, naturally mind is in constant disturbance. So that's why you don't feel encouraged to do any meditation. You don't feel at all to sit and think of the divine, because mind is totally disturbed. You can't do anything. So that means you have to slowly bring back the mind from worldliness to spirituality. The more and more you think of spiritual ideas, the more mind becomes serene and tranquil. That is what Lord Krishna has said. Manaprasada saumyatvam maunamatma vinigraha bhava samshuddhihi ityetat tapo manasamuchyate. So these are the tapas for the manas. You must maintain the tranquility at all cost. You have to bring peace into the mind. And there is a struggle, there is a game we are playing. You have to play the game properly. Then you will feel the immense benefit of meditation. Thank you very much. Another important event coming up in the same month, last weekend of June, which will be a historic occasion for Vivekananda Vedanta Society. We will be celebrating Platinum Jubilee. We complete 75 years of Vedanta in Chicago. So all the Swamijis, the heads of centers in America, Hollywood, San Francisco, Hollywood, and Berkeley, Portland, Seattle, St. Louis, Boston, all the Swamijis are coming for this program. It will be June 24th to 26th. The main theme of this conference is Vedanta for the Global Village. So it's the most important event. You will have the most sacred occasion of meeting all the Swamis there. You should not miss this opportunity. So please register your names for this program, June 24th to 26th. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhiramastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. May the Lord protect us, may He nourish us, may our knowledge be fruitful and enlightened, may we not hate each other. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.